Well, once again, it's time for us to check in, presented by our great friends at our Community Credit Union and the Sheriff's Sit-Down with Mason County Sheriff Ryan Spurling. Hello.
Hey, how are you doing, Jeff? Good
September is here. Summer is wrapping up, and it's been a wild one. Lots of things on different fronts in the Sheriff's office. I know I've been talking with some of the folks there in the office, and one of the big ones, and you were just telling me when he was hired, but back in 2016, I'm going to try to get this right. Jail Chief Kevin Hanson is retiring. He came in 2016 from Lewis County,
yes,
where he was so successful in some of the efforts there. Then Sheriff Salisbury kind of says, hey, why don't you come help us out here? Oh, yeah. We got pumpkin muffins with some cream cheese in there.
Oh, my
Before we
goodness.
get too far into that, definitely try on some of those. But Jail Chief Hanson came from Lewis County, where there was a kind of a similar makeup in the constraints, the size problems, and things like that. And at that time, Sheriff Salisbury says, you got things figured out down there. Come help us out up here. And almost 10 years on the job.
Yeah, I was actually the interim jail chief when
I remember
Chief Haugen left. I was the interim jail chief, and one of the things that we did, we knew that I wouldn't be the long-term chief because I just didn't have that kind of experience. So Sheriff Salisbury put me over there to, more than anything, kind of change the culture.
Yeah.
And lead through that. And one of the things that we did is I brought WASPIC, which is the Washington Association of Sheriffs and Chiefs of Police, and their experts to come and create what is called a Lee map. It's a list of items that we had to accomplish to be able to qualify for accreditation as a jail. And it took us from 2016 when they gave us a 50-page document of all the things that needed to change so that we could be up to all the standards, best practices. And Chief Hanson, once he got on the ground, he worked at that along with the new future Jail Chief Shane Schoeneberg all the way up until last year when we were one of 4 jails owned by sheriff's offices that are accredited. So it took us a long time, and a lot of that has to do with facilities. You know, you're limited on what you can do with facilities.
Yeah.
But we were able to go from 2016 up through 2022, 23, I think was when we actually got it done. And got accredited. So it was a long journey, and Kevin Hanson spearheaded that.
So did that hinder, because the sheriff's office overall was also accredited,
on the patrol side.
On the patrol side. Okay, so there was a distinction there, and they weren't holding out the accreditation to have both sides.
No.
You get a specific jail accreditation as well.
Because it's such a different operation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so different than the patrol side, and we've been accredited for years on the patrol side.
So how long has Schoenberg been there in the jail? Kind of what's the background there?
He's worked his way through all of the ranks.
Okay.
And he's been the lieutenant for many years. And I actually put together a panel of 6 members. I had the jail chief from Grays Harbor County because he'd be a partner, a jail chief from Thurston County, another partner. I had the chief of police of Shelton PD because they use our jail.
Yeah.
And then I had members from our organization, including one of the members from the jail itself, so that they have representation. And we had an interview, and we had 3 people apply. And one of them, just so much experience, but it all came down to all panel members voted for Shane. He, by far, was the right fit for the right season, for this season, to take our jail forward.
When it comes to the jail and the capacity and the numbers, you're transporting still to Nisqually when needed and things like that?
Yes, we try to limit that because it's expensive.
Right.
And it all comes back to staffing. When we've had to reduce the number of inmates that we've had, just because we are supposed to have 27 people, but we've only been running 18, and we couldn't get qualified applicants to actually apply. We've actually had a change over in the last 6 months. We've had more applicants than I've seen since I've been with the sheriff's office, and qualified applicants. So we're in the process of, we're going to swear in 3 new jail corrections officers on the 16th of this month, and we have 2 or 3 more, I think, that are in the background and looking pretty promising. So if we get our staffing back up to the 27, then we'll boost our numbers in the jail up to 80 again.
Okay.
Because we're at 60 right now, and then if we get over 60, we outsource to Nisqually.
Yeah. So you say you got a couple here ready to go, ready to sign that final piece of paperwork. Are they eligible to start right away, or are they then going to some academy to continue their accreditation, or their own training before they can come back and start working?
They have to be trained and certified as a corrections deputy. So they will have to go for 10 weeks to what's called COA, a Corrections Officer Academy.
Okay. I was presenting to the county commission a few weeks back on a program, intern program with the Shelton School District. That doesn't mean anything, but regardless, I look over, and in his new role, I think it was maybe his first meeting as official, not interim, county manager, county administrator, your former undersheriff, Travis Adams, was there. And one of the things that you were telling me is that in addition to what but other departments do in the county, they kind of give updates on what is happening in their department when it comes to county government, and you're going to start doing that to our county commissioners.
Right. There's a lot of departments that work for the county commissioners, and they brief every week.
Yeah.
But not all the elected offices brief. Because we're independent elected, we don't have to brief. But when my former undersheriff, Travis Adams, who, by the way, was the best undersheriff in the state, and now we've got Jason, who's going to do a great job as well. But he came back and he said, you know what? The community and the county employees really don't understand what the sheriff's office does because we don't brief on it.
Yeah.
And so we decided to go ahead and brief, not that we have to, but we want to work in better cooperation with the county commissioners so that they understand some of the things that we're doing. So we're creating a bi-weekly briefing sheet where we kind of update, hey, this is what we've done the last 2 weeks.
So is it arrests and things like that, or is it our outreach, the DARE program is starting, or is it just everything?
It's just a little bit of everything,
Okay.
Just a high-level flyover, basically, because obviously we can't get into the weeds on a lot of things, but we're at least going to say, here's what we've been doing the last couple weeks.
Well, I think you'll find, too, that in addition to the county commissioners and the county staff who either are in person there or watch those on Mason Web, there's a fair amount of the public that watches those as well that would likely get a lot out of that as well, I think. That they may not have an understanding.
And the Journal actually watches them, and they report on it, and they use quotes from there. So that may be helpful for them as well.
Yeah. September is upon us. We can start to see the weather a little bit start to change. I've been monitoring. The last time we met was here at the Oyster Bank, and it was a smoky day. I don't know if you remember that. We were inside because it was so smoky. Bear Gulch Fire continues on. It just surpassed the 10,000 acre mark. The fire personnel have been decreasing as they've changed the way they're kind of looking at the fire and working on the fire. Are you still getting those kind of daily updates and understanding of how things are going up there? It's still work in progress.
Yes, as a matter of fact, they just downgraded to a level 3 team.
Yeah.
Actually, one of our former fire chiefs is in charge of it, Tim McKern, who lives up in the Quilcene area now.
I saw Tim at the Bite of Shelton. He came by and was like, I'm doing this now. Yeah, it was great to see him.
There was a level 2 team before, and they were California 7 team out of California, obviously. And it was interesting because I sat and chat with him about our incident command, and he was so grateful that our sheriff's office, we had the vehicle, the command post that Charlie's Vision and members of our community donated over $50,000 for us to get that vehicle because the county just didn't have the money for that. And we had it up there the whole time, and Lieutenant Trevor Severance, who is kind of my emergency management expert within the agency, was up there interacting with the incident command, dealing with operations, and that's how we determined what levels of evacuation was working hand in hand with them. And the incident commander from California said, I've never seen a sheriff's office more involved in a fire. And I said, well, this is our community. And there's only one incorporated city, so all of it belongs to us, so we dedicated personnel. And we've been very interactive with them, and it's been a good experience. They've done a great job. We're very grateful for all the work that they've done.
What are some of the other things at your other gatherings? You go now to Are you still going to the bistro at Lakeland Village? Is that where?
No, we've actually just moved, so it'll be next Thursday. I will be at 11:30 at the Boathouse.
Boathouse, okay. It's still a great place.
Yes.
Wonderful there. And Spencer Lake has been traditionally
for like
the original
18
one.
years, yeah.
What else are you hearing out there in the community from folks, questions and things like that?
Well, I know a lot of people are concerned about traffic. Okay, when's the Belfair bypass going to happen? How's that going to affect Belfair?
Boy, I was stuck in traffic the other day coming home from a video shoot with the Humane Society. And it was 4 o'clock on a Friday.
Oh,
and
yeah, bad timing.
I was like, what is happening here? I said, if somebody wants a lifelong political job, as a commissioner, all they got to do is get this thing figured out and say, I got this going for us, because it was a nightmare.
Well, and they started the movement forward on a bypass 50-some years ago. And, we've been told it's going to happen, and we'll see.
Kick that can down the road another. No, I think this is likely the year our representatives, including State Senator McEwen and Representatives Griffin Couture, I've seen it on the Capitol, but it's slowly working its way up towards the top. Oh,
I hope we'll have it. That's a good thing. But that's something the communities, obviously the fire was something that the community, they really wanted to make sure. So many people were concerned about, hey, these fires have occurred multiple times and for the same reason.
Yeah.
If you go back to 1979, I talked with the Forest Service. I don't know what his title was back then, but for 40 years, he was the manager for that area of the Forest Service. And in 1979, there was a Bear Gulch Fire that was started from the rock with illegal fireworks on the 4th of July. And then in 2006, there was a Bear Gulch Fire.
Yep.
Same thing, fireworks, and then this one, fireworks. So that investigation is something that people are concerned about, and what's going to be done to prevent this from happening in the future. And the interesting layered piece to that is that Tacoma Power owns that area, but they lease the road to Forest Service. But the rock also has spiritual significance to the tribe. So there's these layers of how do you do, some people say blow the rock up. Other people say bring the national park gate down beyond the rock towards Rose Mountain, where it starts to become a dirt road, and make people pay, and that would reduce the number of people in there. And it was interesting because I talked to the individual who was with the other two Bear Gulches fires. Those same conversations happened then. We'll see.
It's just history repeating itself.
Yeah, it's a little bit of Groundhog's Day, and hopefully we get smarter and we get something done.
Yeah.
But that's all on Forest Service. It's not necessarily county. It's Forest Service and National Park. And
I want to circle back a little bit to those new hires at the jail. Budget season is here. Before too long, we'll be back in a legislative session. It's a short session, so they're not going to do too much anyways. But what are you looking for as you kind of put forth the budget for the county? Is it the year for new cars? Is it the year for more cameras? Or what's the thing you're looking and hoping to get out of this year's budget?
Actually, we're on a really solid rotation with the vehicles, and we have a fleet that the county manages, and they rotate vehicles through. So we're in the best position we've been for probably the history of the sheriff's office, because we don't need to, we got to replace all the cars and we need this big capital outlay. It's on a rotation, and we lease them through enterprise. So that saved the county millions of dollars, and it's worked really well for us. So it's not vehicles. When we first put the budget in, the way it works in the county is each office puts in their wish list.
Yeah.
Here's what we need to really operate to what we think we can do. And then that's taken, and then there's conversations with the county commissioners, because they control budget. We control what we do with that budget when they give it to us, because we're independently elected. But that conversation goes back and forth. And in my wish list, I'm continuing to ask for additional deputies.
Okay.
The numbers have been out there, 14, 15 years. I'm not sure exactly what it is now, where Washington State has the lowest number of officers per 1,000 citizens of any state in the United States. And Mason County has been fairly low. But the commissioners gave me a soft commitment to continue to help us to try to get up to 1 deputy per 1,000. And that comes back to where you get in your numbers of how many people there are in our county. But we're getting closer. And over the last 3 years, they've given us 4 new positions. And I've been able to carve a couple people out and build our set team. And that set team is going to be proactive in nature, not reactive, which is going to be able to address problems in our community that we haven't been able to address in the last recent years. So that'll be a big deal. But I'm going to, again, ask for another deputy. Whether they choose, because I know their revenues versus income is a little bit challenged this year, but I think our county did a lot better than a lot of other counties when it comes to handling COVID money and hiring people. So we'll see how it rolls out, but I'm optimistic.
Finally, then, I think one of the other great ways for policing to maintain, or at least, people having a good perception of what's happening in their areas, low crime, is these neighborhood watches. You were telling me that you've been working with, you got a grant or something to offer up some things to the neighborhood watches around the area.
Yeah, we just had a neighborhood watch captain celebration where we brought them in.
How many neighborhood watches are there in the county?
There's quite a few. We didn't have quite as many respond to the invitation on a Saturday afternoon as we would have liked, but we had quite a few, just not all of them. I don't know the exact number of the neighborhood watches, but we've got quite a few and we're growing, and that's part of our desire because we can't be everywhere. Yeah. We still don't have a tremendous amount of officers out on the street, so we need everybody's eyes and ears and their videos and all that type of stuff to help us solve crime and to be proactive in crime.
Is that what a neighborhood watch captain does then? They kind of hear from you in regards to tell the people in your area that if they have those Ring cameras or systems, that you can offer this up, kind of give them the overview of how they can help you in the event of something going on? Is that what
you bet?
And
we actually go in and educate, and then it's a communication system. So now, for example, if you had one community that started having a rash of crimes, and they got little pieces of information, like it's a black vehicle with red paint on the tailgate, or whatever it is, but they really don't have any other description. And then we pass that information to all the neighborhood watch captains, and then they start looking for, oh, hey, we noticed that too, and we've had some crimes, and it starts putting pieces together that we wouldn't have on our own, because a lot of those neighborhood watches, some of them are retired in their home and they're paying attention to what's going on in their neighborhoods. And that is a real important piece to us. So we were celebrating that, and we got a grant, and we got some of those clubs, which is the old style auto theft
those red
preventions.
Things that you put on the steering wheel.
Yep, we bought quite a few of those, and we were giving them out to the neighborhood watch captains to give to members of their neighborhood watch. And it was just our thank you, and it was through a grant that we were able to purchase those, and that was from the auto theft prevention. So it was kind of a neat thing, and we have some great community members that really want to get involved in making their community safer.
Well, speaking of that, you got a room full of them waiting for you inside the Oyster Bank for our luncheon that we, again, there have been some changes here at the Oyster Bank for regular food service, but KMAS and the Oyster Bank still committed to getting these conversations out and in the Hoodsport community here, be at the Boathouse, next in Allen, and then also Spencer Lake continues on with theirs. And then the next time you and I talk, it'll be right on, I think, if I'm looking at the calendar right, that Friday before the biggest Mason County party of Oyster Fest.
Yeah.
So that's always a good time, and I know you enjoy walking around
I
and talking
love Oyster Fest, but I'm going to miss it this year.
Oh, you are?
Well, it's my 45th or 41st wedding anniversary. My wife says, you're going to Hawaii. So I said, okay, honey.
You get a pass.
I hate missing it. It just happened to fall right on our anniversary.
Well, that'll happen every so often. Appreciate you and all you do for the community, obviously. Look forward to hearing about how all the changes in new staffing will help benefit the sheriff's office and ultimately the county with their and these conversations are presented by our great friends at our community credit union. So,
well, thank you, Jeff, and thank you for all you do.
Yeah, thank you.